A simple mother fired from her job. The CEO screamed when she revealed she was the majority shareholder. The morning sun peeked through the curtains of a small, cluttered apartment as Sarah Bennett hurried to pack her son's lunch. Her hands moved quickly, but her mind was elsewhere. Today was the big meeting at work, the one where she'd finally present her project after weeks of late nights. Her son Jake tugged at her sleeve. "Mom, you forgot my juice again," he said with a sigh. Sarah ruffled his hair, forcing a smile. "Sorry, kiddo, it's been a crazy week." She grabbed a juice box from the fridge and stuffed it into his backpack, just as the school bus honked outside. "Love you, have a good day," she called as Jake dashed out the door. Sarah barely had time to gulp down her coffee before rushing to her car. The drive to Crestview Industries was tense. Her boss, Mr. Hargrove, had been acting strange lately, avoiding her questions, cutting her out of important emails. She pushed the thought aside. Maybe she was just paranoid. The office buzzed with activity when she arrived, but the usual greetings were replaced with hushed whispers and sideways glances. Her assistant, Lisa, looked nervous. "Sarah, Hargrove wants to see you. Now." Sarah's stomach dropped. She smoothed her blazer and walked into his office, where Hargrove sat behind his desk, arms crossed. Without looking up, he slid a folder toward her. "Your project's been terminated, effective immediately." Sarah blinked. "What?" "But we just got approval last week." Hargrove's expression didn't change. "The board thinks it's too risky. We're letting you go." Sarah's hands trembled. "You're firing me? After 10 years?" Hargrove shrugged. "It's business." She stared at him, then at the framed photo on his desk. The CEO, Daniel Crestview, smirking like he'd already won. Something snapped inside her. "You think you can just throw me out?" Her voice was calm, but her eyes burned. Hargrove smirked. "What are you going to do? Cry to HR?" Sarah reached into her bag and pulled out a single sheet of paper. She slid it across the desk. Hargrove's smile faded as he read it. His face turned pale. This can't be real." Sarah leaned in. "Oh, it's real. I own 51% of Crestview Industries. And as of today, you're fired." The door burst open. Daniel Crestview stormed in, his face red with rage. "What the hell is this?" Sarah turned to him, her smile icy. "Didn't your father ever tell you who really owns this company?" The room fell silent. No one moved. No one breathed. Then, the phone rang. Sarah watched Daniel's face twist in confusion as the phone kept ringing. He snatched it up, barking, "What?" The voice on the other end was loud enough for everyone to hear, his lawyer panicking. "Daniel, we just got the paperwork. It's legit. She's the majority shareholder." Daniel's grip on the phone tightened until his knuckles turned white. He slowly lowered it, staring at Sarah like she'd grown a second head. "How?" he demanded. Sarah crossed her arms. "Your father and mine were partners, remember? When my dad died, his shares passed to me. Your dad kept it quiet. Probably didn't want you knowing a nobody owned more of this company than your family." Hargrove looked like he was about to pass out. You never said anything." Sarah shrugged. "I liked working here. Until today." She turned back to Daniel. "Pack your office. You're done." Daniel's face darkened. "You think it's that easy? I'll fight this in court." Sarah smiled. "Go ahead. But first, maybe check the safe in your dad's old office. The one behind the painting." Daniel froze. His father's office had been locked for years. No one went in there. Without another word, he stormed out, shoving past stunned employees. Hargrove scrambled after him like a lost puppy. Lisa, still standing in the doorway, gaped at Sarah. "Did you just take over the company?" Sarah sighed, suddenly exhausted. "Looks like it." Just then her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "You shouldn't have done that." Sarah's blood ran cold. Before she could react, the fire alarm blared. The office erupted into chaos as people rushed for the exits. Over the noise, Lisa grabbed her arm. "Sarah, look!" Smoke curled under the door to the records room, the one holding all the company's financial files. And someone had just locked it from the outside. Sarah didn't hesitate. She grabbed a fire extinguisher from the wall and sprinted toward the records room, ignoring Lisa's shouts. The smoke thickened as she reached the door. It was definitely locked. She slammed the extinguisher against the handle once, twice until the mechanism broke. Inside, flames licked at the file cabinets near the back. Sarah pulled the pin on the extinguisher and aimed, coating the fire in thick white foam until the last ember died. Coughing, she wiped her soot-streaked face and looked around. The most important files, the ones tied to her father's shares, were still intact. But one drawer hung open, its contents missing. Lisa burst in behind her. "Security's clearing the building. What the hell just happened?" Sarah's jaw tightened. "Someone didn't want me to see something." She knelt, picking up a half-burned scrap of paper. Only 2 words were still legible. Project Phoenix. Before she could process it, her phone buzzed again. Another text, same unknown number. "Stop digging, or your son disappears next." Sarah's breath caught. "Jake." She whipped around to Lisa. "I need to go. Now!" Lisa grabbed her wrist. "Sarah, what's going on?" "No time." Sarah yanked free and bolted for the stairs, pulling out her phone to call Jake's school. It rang once, twice, no answer. Her heart pounded harder. She screeched into the school parking lot 10 minutes later, ignoring the speed limit. The front office was empty. No secretary, no principal, just silence. "Jake?" Sarah's voice echoed down the hallway. Then a faint sound, a locker rattling. She sprinted toward it, flinging the door open. Jake tumbled out, wide-eyed and trembling. "Mom, some guy told me to hide in here and not come out no matter what." Sarah pulled him close, her mind racing. Whoever was after her had gotten dangerously close. Too close. Then her phone buzzed a third time. A photo this time. A snapshot of her house, front door wide open. The message underneath, "Last warning." Sarah's hands shook. This wasn't just about the company anymore. Someone wanted her dead. Sarah clutched Jake's hand as they ran back to the car, her eyes scanning every shadow in the parking lot. "Get in, lock the doors, and don't open them for anyone," she said, shoving her keys into his small hands. "If I'm not back in 5 minutes, call 911 and drive to Aunt Mia's. Remember how I showed you?" Jake nodded, his face pale but determined. "But Mom—" "No buts. Go." She slammed the door shut and turned, pulling out her phone with one hand while the other hovered near the pepper spray in her pocket. She dialed Lisa. "Lisa, listen carefully. Someone just threatened Jake. They're at my house. I need you to pull every record on Project Phoenix. Whatever it is, it's the key to this." Lisa's voice was tight. "I'm already on it. But Sarah, there's something else. Daniel just left the building in a hurry, and he wasn't alone. Some guy in a black suit got into the car with him." Sarah's stomach twisted. "Send me the security footage. Now." Her phone dinged with the file. She zoomed in on the man beside Daniel. Cold eyes, a jagged scar running down his cheek. She'd seen him before, at her father's funeral. The realization hit her like a punch. This wasn't just about the company. It was about something older, something buried. A loud engine roared behind her. Sarah spun around just as a black SUV screeched to a halt a few feet away. The passenger window rolled down, revealing the scarred man. "Sarah Bennett," he said, his voice like gravel. "We need to talk." Sarah tightened her grip on the pepper spray. "Who the hell are you?" The man smirked. "Let's just say your father and I had unfinished business." He tossed a folded photograph onto the pavement. "And now it's your turn." Sarah hesitated, then bent to pick it up. The image made her blood freeze. Her father, standing beside Daniel's dad, both holding blueprints labeled Project Phoenix. And behind them, a third man, the same scarred face now staring at her. Before she could react, Jake's scream tore through the air. "Mom!" Sarah whipped around. Another SUV had pulled up beside her car. 2 men in masks were yanking Jake's door open. The scarred man chuckled. "Tick-tock, Sarah. Get in or the kid's gone." Sarah's mind raced. No cops, no time. Only one play left. She lunged for the SUV's door. "If anything happens to him, I'll burn everything down." The man's grin widened. "Oh, Sarah, that's exactly what we're counting on." As the door slammed shut, the SUV peeled away, just as Jake's terrified cries were cut off by the sound of squealing tires. Sarah was alone, and the real game had just begun. Sarah's fingers dug into the leather seat as the SUV sped through the city. taking sharp turns that threw her against the door. The scarred man, Keller he'd called himself, watched her with amusement. "Relax," he said, lighting a cigarette. "Your boy's safe. For now." Sarah's voice was steel. "If you hurt him..." "You'll what?" Keller exhaled smoke. "You don't even know what game you're playing." The SUV swerved into an underground garage beneath a nondescript office building. Keller shoved her toward an elevator, his grip bruising. The doors opened to a dimly lit boardroom where Daniel Crestview stood at the head of the table, his usual arrogance replaced with something darker: fear. "You idiot," Daniel spat at Keller. "She wasn't supposed to be brought here." Keller smirked. "Change of plans." He forced Sarah into a chair, then tossed a file in front of her. "Recognize this?" Sarah flipped it open. Her breath caught. It was her father's handwriting, pages of notes on Project Phoenix, a secret deal between him and Daniel's father. But one line stood out. "If anything happens to me, Sarah inherits the truth and the fire." Keller leaned in. "Your dad was supposed to destroy these. Instead, he hid them. Now you're going to tell us where the rest are." Sarah's mind raced. Her father's old cabin. The one he'd taken her to every summer. The one he'd told her never to mention to anyone. Daniel slammed his hands on the table. "This ends now. Give us the files and you and your son walk away." Sarah met his gaze. "You really think I'd believe that?" Before he could answer, the lights flickered. Then, boom! An explosion rocked the building. The door blew off its hinges and smoke poured in. Through the chaos, a figure stepped forward. Lisa, holding a gun, her usual cheerful demeanor gone. "Sorry, Sarah," she said, aiming at Keller, "but you're not the only one with secrets." Keller laughed. Well, the assistant's got teeth." Lisa's finger tightened on the trigger. Bang! But it wasn't Keller who fell. It was Daniel. Sarah stared as he crumpled, blood spreading across his crisp white shirt. Lisa grabbed her arm. "Run!" Keller's men surged forward. Sarah didn't think. She bolted, following Lisa through the smoke and gunfire, her mind screaming one question. Who the hell was Lisa really? And more importantly, where was Jake? The elevator doors closed just as Keller's roar echoed behind them. Lisa punched the button for the roof. "We've got about 30 seconds before they lock this building down." Sarah grabbed her. "What did you just do? Where's my son?" Lisa's face was grim. "Safe. For now. But if we don't get to the cabin before Keller does, none of this will matter." The elevator dinged. The roof. A helicopter waited, blades spinning. Sarah hesitated. Lisa shoved her forward. "Move! Your father didn't die in an accident, Sarah. He was murdered. And you're the only one who can prove it." The chopper lifted off just as the roof door burst open. Keller and his men, guns raised. But Sarah wasn't looking at them. She was staring at the coordinates Lisa had entered into the GPS. The cabin, where this had all begun, and where it would end. Sarah clutched the seat as the helicopter banked sharply, the city lights shrinking below them. Lisa was focused on the controls, her jaw set. "You're not just an assistant," Sarah shouted over the rotor noise. Lisa didn't look at her. "Number I was your father's contingency plan." The words hit like a hammer. "What?" Lisa finally met her eyes. "He knew they'd come for you eventually, so he planted me at Crestview to watch your back." Sarah's mind reeled. All those times Lisa had covered for her when she was late because of Jake, the way she'd always steered her clear of Hargrove's worst moods, none of it was coincidence. A crackle came over the radio. "All units, the target is airborne. Repeat, the target is airborne." Lisa cursed and yanked the stick hard to the left. A searchlight swept past them. Police chopper. "They've got friends in high places," Lisa muttered. She shoved a backpack at Sarah. "Change of plan. We're jumping." Sarah stared at the parachute inside. "Are you insane?" Lisa already had hers on. "Your dad trained me for this. Trust me." Another searchlight, closer this time. Sarah's hands shook as she strapped in. "Where's Jake? Tell me." Lisa hesitated. Then, "Safe house. With my brother. He's ex-Special Forces." Before Sarah could process that, Lisa yanked open the door. Wind screamed into the cabin. "On 3!" Lisa grabbed her hand. "1!" Gunfire erupted. The windshield spiderwebbed. 2. The chopper lurched. A warning light flashed. 3. They jumped. Sarah's stomach dropped as they plummeted through the night. The city lights spun below her. Then, whoosh! The chute opened, yanking them upright. Lisa guided them toward a darkened patch of forest outside the city. They hit the ground hard, tumbling into the underbrush. Sarah gasped for air. What now? Lisa was already moving, shedding her chute. Now we run. Keller's men will be all over this area in minutes. They crashed through the trees, branches whipping at their faces. Somewhere in the distance, sirens wailed. Lisa suddenly stopped, pulling Sarah down behind a fallen log. Listen. Engines. Getting closer. Sarah's heart pounded. Then, a rustle in the bushes. A figure stepped out. Jake. Sarah nearly screamed. He was dirty, scared, but alive. A muscular man in tactical gear held his shoulder. Lisa let out a breath. Took you long enough, Mike. Mike, Lisa's brother, nodded grimly. Had to lose a tail. We've got maybe 10 minutes before they find us. Jake launched himself into Sarah's arms. Mom, the bad men? I know, baby, I know. She held him tight, then looked at Mike. How far is the cabin? 3 miles northeast, but there's a problem. He exchanged a glance with Lisa. Keller's already there. Sarah's blood went cold. Lisa checked her gun. Then we go in hot. Your dad left something in that cabin, Sarah. Something worth killing for. Mike handed Sarah a pistol. Have you ever used one of these? She took it, hands steady for the first time all night. There's a first time for everything. The trees whispered around them as they moved out. Somewhere ahead, the cabin waited, and with it, the truth about her father's death. And Sarah was done running. The forest was eerily silent as they crept toward the cabin. The only sounds their muffled footsteps and Jake's shaky breathing. Mike moved like a ghost ahead of them, signaling for them to stop every few yards. Sarah's fingers tightened around the gun. Too light, too unfamiliar, but she refused to let fear take over. Lisa crouched beside her, voice barely a whisper. Keller's got at least 4 men inside. They'll be watching the doors. Sarah glanced at Jake, his face pale but determined. Then we don't use the doors. Mike smirked. Exactly. He pointed to a rusted cellar hatch half hidden by overgrown weeds. Storm cellar. Leads right under the house. They slipped inside, the damp air thick with the smell of earth and old wood. Cobwebs brushed Sarah's face as they shuffled through the narrow passage. Above them, muffled voices argued. Tore the place apart. There's nothing here. Then you're not looking hard enough. Keller's voice sharp with fury. A floorboard creaked directly overhead. Sarah froze. Mike held up a hand, then pointed to a loose floorboard in the cellar ceiling. There. Lisa nodded and pulled a small mirror from her pocket, angling it through the gap. Sarah's breath caught. Keller stood inches above them, his scarred face twisted in rage as he kicked over a chair. Behind him, a framed photo of Sarah's father lay shattered on the floor. But it wasn't just a photo. The glass was broken in a perfect circle, like someone had removed something hidden behind it. Lisa's eyes locked onto Sarah's. That's it. Mike motioned toward a rusted pipe running along the wall. Distraction. On my signal. Before Sarah could react, he slammed the pipe with the butt of his gun. Clang. The noise echoed like a gunshot. Above them, chaos erupted. What the hell was that? Cellar! Check it now! Boots pounded toward the hatch. Lisa yanked Sarah and Jake behind a stack of old crates just as the cellar door flew open. A flashlight beam swept the darkness. See anything? Nah, probably just rats. The beam lingered, then disappeared as the door slammed shut. Silence. Then a slow, deliberate creak from the far corner of the cellar. Sarah turned. A section of the wall moved, a hidden door swinging open on silent hinges, and behind it, a small safe. Lisa's grin was fierce. Your dad really didn't trust banks. Sarah rushed forward, her fingers finding the combination dial, but the numbers meant nothing to her. Jake suddenly squeezed her arm. Mom, your locket. She blinked. The heart-shaped locket her father gave her on her 16th birthday. Always keep this close, Sarah. Hands shaking, she pried it open. Scratched inside were 4 numbers. 1622, 519. The safe clicked open. Inside lay a single flash drive and a yellowed note in her father's handwriting. If you're reading this, they've come for you. The drive proves everything. The murders, the money, Project Phoenix. Keller's real name is Richard Vales. He's not just a thug. He's the senator's son. Sarah's blood turned to ice, because taped beneath the note was a photo of Keller, shaking hands with the governor. Lisa sucked in a breath. Oh, hell! This goes way higher than Crestview. A shout echoed from above. They're in the walls! Mike cocked his gun. Time's up. The cellar door burst open again, but this time Keller stood at the top of the stairs, his gun aimed straight at Sarah. Game over, he snarled. Sarah didn't flinch. She slid the flash drive into her pocket and met his gaze. You're right, she said softly. Your game is. Then the entire cabin exploded. The blast threw Keller backward as flames erupted overhead. Mike grabbed Jake and yanked them all toward a narrow tunnel at the back of the cellar, their only way out. As they crawled through the smoke, Sarah clutched the drive, her father's last words ringing in her ears. This wasn't just revenge. It was a war, and she just fired the first shot. The tunnel spat them out behind a ridge just as the cabin collapsed in a roar of flames. Sarah coughed, her lungs burning, Jake clinging to her side. Mike was already scanning the tree line. We need to move. They'll have backup coming. Lisa grabbed Sarah's arm, eyes wild in the firelight. That wasn't us. Who the hell just blew up the cabin? Before Sarah could answer, a new voice cut through the night, calm, eerily familiar. That would be me. A woman stepped from the shadows, her face half lit by the blaze. Late 50s, sharp suit, silver hair pulled back in a ruthless bun. Sarah's breath caught. Margaret Crestview, Daniel's mother. Lisa's gun came up instantly. Not another step. Margaret didn't flinch. Put that down, dear. If I wanted you dead, you'd already be in that fire. She held up a phone. Live security footage showed Jake's school, his classroom, every exit. I have teams at every location that matters to you. But I'm not your enemy tonight, Sarah shoved Jake behind her. You expect me to believe that? Your son just tried to kill us. Former son, Margaret corrected coldly. Daniel made his choice when he allied with Vales. And now? She tossed a news tablet at Sarah's feet. The headline blared, Senator's son linked to Crestview scandal. Whistleblower files leaked. Sarah started. This wasn't me. I haven't. Of course not. Margaret's smile was razor thin. I released the files. Every dirty deal, every murder Vales and my idiot husband covered up, including your father's. The world tilted. Sarah's fingers dug into the flash drive in her pocket. Why? Margaret's gaze flicked to Jake, then back. Because Vales just declared war on my empire, and you, Sarah Bennett, are the only one who can prove where the bodies are buried. She nodded to Mike. My jet's waiting. You have 48 hours to get that drive to the FBI before Vales's friends bury the story. Lisa stepped forward. And why should we trust you? Margaret turned to leave. You shouldn't, but ask yourself, who stood to lose more if Keller won tonight? Him? She pointed at the burning cabin. Or me? A helicopter thundered overhead, unmarked, black, descending toward a clearing. Margaret's extraction. Mike cursed. She's playing us. Sarah watched Margaret disappear into the trees, the weight of the drive like a brick in her hand. The pieces clicked. This wasn't just about justice. It was a power play, and they were the pawns. Lisa grabbed her shoulder. What now? Sarah looked down at Jake, then at the drive. Now, she said quietly, we burn them all. The helicopter's searchlight swept over them as they ran for the tree line, toward the safe house, toward the evidence, toward the endgame. Somewhere in the darkness, Keller was still out there, and Sarah was coming for him. The safe house was a nondescript brownstone in the city, its windows dark, its door unmarked. Mike punched in a code and the locks clicked open. Inside, the air smelled of stale coffee and gun oil. Maps and news clippings covered the walls. Crestview Industries, Senator Vales, Keller's military record. Lisa tossed Sarah a burner phone. We need to move fast. If Margaret leaked the files, Keller's allies will be scrambling to silence anyone who can verify them. Sarah plugged the flash drive into a laptop. Files exploded across the screen. Bank records, offshore accounts, blackmail photos. But one folder stood out. Operation Phoenix. She clicked it. A video loaded. Her father's face filled the screen, gaunt but determined. Sarah, if you're seeing this, I'm dead. Crestview and Vales murdered me because of what I found. Project Phoenix isn't a business deal. It's a coup. They're rigging elections, assassinating rivals, and Keller's the knife in the dark. The video cut to surveillance footage. Keller slipping into a hotel room, a gunshot, a body falling, the governor's chief of staff. Jake gasped. Mom, that's murder. Sarah's hands shook. This wasn't just corporate greed. This was treason. Mike cursed under his breath. We can't go to the FBI with this. Half of them are probably on Vale's payroll. Lisa pulled up a contact on the burner. Then we go public. All of it. Sarah stared at the screen. One click, and the truth would be unstoppable. But Keller's face flashed in her mind, the way he'd smiled before the cabin exploded. He wasn't done, and neither was she. She grabbed the phone. First, we bait the trap. 3 hours later, a live stream broadcast flickered to life on every major news network, social platform, and dark web forum. Sarah's face filled the screen. My name is Sarah Bennett. My father was murdered, and this is the proof. The video evidence played. Keller's crimes, Vale's bribes, the bodies buried by Crestview. Within minutes, the internet erupted. Phoenix conspiracy trended worldwide. Safe house roof. Sarah watched the city lights, the burner phone hot in her hand. It rang. Unknown caller. She answered. Keller's voice was a snarl. You stupid bitch. You just signed your son's death warrant. Sarah smiled. No, Keller. You did. She hung up, just as sirens wailed in the distance. Red and blue lights flooded the streets below. Federal vehicles, news vans, and at the center of it all, flanked by armed agents, Senator Values in handcuffs. Lisa whooped. They flipped on him. His own people sold him out. Mike clapped Sarah's shoulder. It's over. But Sarah kept staring at the phone. Keller was still out there, and she knew this wasn't over. Not yet. The screen lit up again. One new message. She opened it. A single photo. Keller standing in Jake's empty classroom. The text underneath. Come find me. Sarah's fingers tightened around the phone. Oh, I will. Sarah dropped the phone like it had burned her. The classroom photo taunted her. Jake's empty desk. The alphabet banner above it torn at the edge where he always fidgeted with it during parent-teacher meetings. Keller had been there. Recently. Lisa snatched the phone, her face hardening. He's baiting you. This is a trap. Mike was already strapping a bulletproof vest over Jake's small frame. We move now. School's 10 minutes out. Sarah grabbed Mike's arm. Number I go. Alone. Lisa and Mike both started to protest, but Sarah cut them off. He wants me, not Jake. If he sees any of you, he'll panic, and we can't risk that. She knelt in front of Jake, her voice steady despite the storm inside her. You stay with Mike. No arguing. Jake's lip trembled, but he nodded. Kick his butt, Mom. Sarah kissed his forehead, then turned to Lisa. There's a black duffel in the closet. Bring it. The duffel held her father's old revolver and a stack of cash. But beneath them, something else. A small sealed envelope with, "For when you're ready," scrawled in her dad's handwriting. Lisa sucked in a breath. You're not seriously thinking about... Sarah tore it open. A key and an address. 217 Riverfront Drive. Mike frowned. That's the old docks. Abandoned warehouses. Sarah pocketed the key. Change of plan. Lisa, take Jake to the FBI. Now. Mike, you're with me. Lisa grabbed her wrist. Sarah, this is exactly what Keller wants. Sarah yanked free. Number, what Keller wants is to watch me beg. Her smile was nice. But he's about to learn something. She pulled the revolver from the duffel. My father taught me how to fight dirty. Riverfront Drive. The warehouse loomed in the fog, its broken windows like empty eyes. Mike moved like a shadow beside her. I count 4 guards, 2 at the door, 2 on the roof. Sarah checked the revolver. 6 rounds. Distraction? Mike grinned. Already on it. A distant thud, then screaming metal as a cargo container slammed into the dock cranes, triggering a chain reaction of collapsing steel. Guards shouted, running toward the noise. Sarah slipped inside. The warehouse was a maze of crates and chains, and at its center, Keller. Leaning against a rusted shipping container, Jake's backpack at his feet. "Took you long enough," he drawled. Sarah leveled the revolver. "Where's my son?" Keller smirked. "Safe, for now." He kicked the backpack toward her. "Open it." Inside, a phone, live streaming security footage. Jake tied to a chair in a concrete room. Lisa, unconscious on the floor beside him, and a timer counting down from 10 o'clock. Sarah's blood turned to sludge. "You lying!" Keller shrugged. "I never said he was here." He tapped his watch. "But if you want him alive, you'll put the gun down and listen." The revolver trembled in Sarah's grip. Then, a gunshot rang out. Keller's knee exploded. He collapsed, howling. Sarah whirled. Mike, standing in the shadows, smoke curling from his pistol. "Sorry, boss," he said. "I don't negotiate with terrorists." Keller writhed, clawing at his bleeding leg. You work for me?" Mike's smile was cold. "Nah, I work for her." He nodded at Sarah, and in that moment, she understood. Mike wasn't Lisa's brother. He was her father's last gift. Sarah stepped over Keller, pressing the revolver to his forehead. "The address," she snarled. "Now." Keller spat blood. "Go to hell." Sarah cocked the hammer. "Wrong answer." Bang. The shot grazed his ear, embedding it in the concrete. Keller screamed. "Fine. 3402 Elmwood. Basement, but you'll never make it in time." Sarah stood. "Mike." He tossed her a set of keys. "Motorcycle out back. Go." She ran, but not before kicking Keller's gun toward Mike. "Keep him alive," she called over her shoulder. "I'm not done with him yet." The engine roared to life. 9:12 on the timer. Sarah Bennett had a son to save and a score to settle. Elmwood Avenue. The bike skidded to a halt outside a decrepit brownstone. Sarah didn't bother with the door. She shot the lock and kicked it open. Basement stairs, darkness, and a voice from below. "Mom! Jake!" Sarah took the steps 3 at a time. The door at the bottom was steel, locked. She emptied the revolver into the hinges. One kick. It flew open. Jake was there, struggling against his bonds. Lisa stirred groggily beside him. No bombs, no timer. Just a tape recorder playing the footage Keller had streamed. Sarah's stomach dropped. It was a setup. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. Look outside. The window. Across the street. Keller leaning against a black SUV, smiling. Mike's body slumped in the passenger seat. The text came through. "Game's not over yet, Sarah." The SUV peeled away. Sarah clutched Jake to her chest, her mind racing. Keller had played her, but he'd made one mistake. He'd left her alive. And now? Now the hunt was on. Sarah didn't waste a second. She tore the ropes off Jake, checked Lisa's pulse, steady, thank God, and dialed 911 with one hand while yanking the tape recorder's battery out with the other. The moment she heard sirens in the distance, she grabbed Jake's hand and bolted upstairs. Lisa groaned, stumbling after them. "Sarah? Mike? Keller has him," Sarah bit out, scanning the street. The black SUV was long gone, but the taillights of a different car, a silver sedan, lingered at the corner. Watching, waiting. Sarah's fingers tightened around the empty revolver. Think. Keller wanted her to chase him, wanted her angry, reckless, so she wouldn't. Instead, she pulled Jake close and whispered, "Remember Aunt Mia's safe word?" Jake nodded, eyes wide. "Thunderbird." "Good." She pressed a kiss to his forehead, then shoved the tape recorder into Lisa's hands. "Take him there. Now don't stop for anyone." Lisa opened her mouth to argue, but Sarah was already stepping back. "I'll draw them off. Go." Without another word, she sprinted in the opposite direction, toward the subway station, making sure her movements were loud, obvious. Let Keller's men follow. Let them think she was running scared. The platform was nearly empty this late. Sarah jumped the turnstile, her sneakers slapping against concrete as she raced down the stairs just as a downtown train screeched in. She threw herself through the closing doors, heart hammering. One stop. That's all she needed. Her phone buzzed. Another unknown number. Nice try, but we have eyes everywhere. The train lurched forward. Sarah gripped a pole, scanning the few passengers. A tired nurse, a college kid with headphones, an old man reading a newspaper. Too obvious. Then she saw it, the security camera in the corner. Watching her. Keller wasn't just tracking her phone, he was in the system. Sarah lunged for the emergency brake. Alarms blared as the train ground to a halt between stations. Passengers shouted, but she was already shoving open the maintenance hatch between cars and dropping onto the tracks. Darkness swallowed her as she ran through the tunnel, the distant echo of the train's PA system calling for security. Her fingers found the loose brick she remembered from years ago, back when her dad brought her down here to show her the secret ways under the city. Behind it, a rusted metal box. Inside, a burner phone, a switchblade, and a single sticky note with a name. Elias Vales, Keller's real father. Sarah's breath came fast. This wasn't just her dad's contingency plan. It was a blood trail, and it led straight to the senator's doorstep. The burner phone rang. She answered. A voice smooth and cold. Sarah Bennett, you're harder to kill than your father. Sarah's grip on the knife tightened. Senator Vales. Funny, I was just about to call you. A pause, then laughter. Oh, I like you. Pity you'll be dead by dawn. The line went dead. Sarah pocketed the phone and climbed up a maintenance ladder into the night. Keller thought this was a game. Vales thought she was prey. But they'd forgotten one thing. Sarah Bennett didn't lose. Not when her son's life was on the line. Not when the truth was this close. She melted into the shadows, heading for the one place neither of them would expect. The heart of their empire, Crestview Tower. And this time, she wasn't asking for permission to enter. She was burning it to the ground. The Crestview Tower loomed like a steel giant in the dead of night, its glass facade reflecting the city lights. Sarah slipped through the service entrance, her father's switchblade cold in her hand. The security desk was empty. Too easy. A trap. She didn't care. Elevators were risky. She took the stairs, climbing silently until she hit the 30th floor. The executive suite, where Daniel Crestview's name still gleamed on the door. Inside, the office was dark except for the glow of a single computer monitor. A figure sat silhouetted in the chair, facing the window. Took you long enough, the man said. Not Keller, Senator Elias Vales. He turned, his polished smile glinting in the dim light. I'd offer you a drink, but... He gestured to the knife. Sarah didn't move. Where's Keller? Gone. For now. Vales leaned back, steepling his fingers. You're smarter than your father, Sarah. He never saw the knife coming. But you? He chuckled. You walked right into it. A click behind her. Sarah spun, but too late. Keller stepped from the shadows, gun aimed at her chest. Game over, he sneered. Vales stood, smoothing his suit. The files you leaked? Meaningless. By morning, every news outlet will retract the story. A hoax, they'll say. And you? He smirked. A desperate single mom who snapped. Tragic, really. Sarah's pulse roared in her ears. She was outgunned, outnumbered, but not outplayed. She smiled. You're right, it is tragic. Then, boom! The windows shattered as a SWAT team rappelled down the building, rifles trained on Vales and Keller. Freeze! FBI. Vales whirled. What? Sarah tossed the burner phone onto his desk. The screen showed a live feed of this room. You shouldn't have called me, Senator. Give me just enough time to ping your location. Keller snarled and raised his gun. Bang! A sniper round blew it from his hand. Chaos erupted. Keller lunged for Sarah, but she drove the switchblade into his thigh. He howled, collapsing as agents swarmed him. Vales backed toward the window, hands raised. Do you think this changes anything? My people own this city. Sarah stepped closer. Not anymore. She yanked open his suit jacket, revealing a wire. The same wire that had recorded everything. Vales paled. You! Say hello to the evening news, Sarah whispered. Outside, the sky lit up with camera flashes. Reporters, police, the world. It was over. Epilogue, 3 weeks later. The headlines didn't stop. Vales arrested, Crestview. Empire crumbles. Whistleblower Sarah Bennett to receive full control of company. Jake waved the newspaper as they walked through the park. Mom, you're famous. Lisa, now her head of security, snorted. More like infamous. Mike, arm in a sling from Keller's bullet, grinned. Nah, she's a legend. Sarah smiled, watching the sun rise over the city. Her city now. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. This isn't over. She deleted it. Because for the first time in years, Sarah Bennett wasn't afraid. She had a son. She had the truth. And she had power. Let them come. She was ready.